For the past several years, it's been obvious to fans that there's something wrong with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And for the past several years, if you dared say that, if you dared criticize Marvel or Disney or the MCU, it seemed like the mainstream media was very quick to tell you you were wrong, that nothing could possibly be wrong with Marvel, and it must just be a toxic fandom complaining about diverse characters. Well, now here we are, the end of 2023, and the mainstream media has finally started to catch up with fans and YouTubers who have been talking about this for years. Over the last several months, we've seen several articles and pieces and even books released talking about the struggles for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And now today, on Variety of all places, their big cover story that they've even changed up the banner of their Twitter page for is Marvel in Trouble. It is a massive takedown and reveal of so many things that are wrong with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and what they're desperately trying to do to fix it. We've been right this entire time, no matter how many times people in the mainstream or shills, whoever, try to say that we're just making it up. No, we've been directly over target, and now no one can possibly deny it. Crisis at Marvel, Jonathan Majors' backup plans, the Marvel's reshoots, reviving original Avengers, and more issues revealed. Again, they changed their Twitter banner to this piece right here. And of course, maybe the biggest thing that people are talking about is that it's gotten so bad for Marvel that there have been internal discussions about bringing the original Avengers back for a movie in a desperate attempt to win fans back. Take a look at this stuff. Crisis at Marvel, we just read the headline. Look at the art. Look at the banner. This basically looks like what somebody's YouTube thumbnail could be. You see the original Avengers and this up arrow, and then you see all these other characters that have failed with the MCU. You got Black Captain America, you got She-Hulk right there, you got Ant-Man falling, Loki, and of course, old Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury with Secret Invasion. And of course, Captain Marvel, you can't forget about that. This is why we're going to go through a lot of this. There's going to be so many people talking about this article over the next few days for a lot of different videos, but let's get into some of this. This past September, a group of Marvel creatives, including Kevin Feige, assembled in Palm Springs for the studio's annual retreat. Most years, the vibe would have been confident, even cocky, given how the premier superhero brand owned by Disney since 2009 has remade the entertainment business in its image. But this occasion was angst-ridden. Everyone at Marvel was reeling from a series of disappointments on screen, a legal scandal involving one of its biggest stars, and questions about the viability of the studio's ambitious strategy to extend the brand beyond movies into streaming. The most pressing issue to be discussed at the retreat was what to do about Jonathan Majors. Now, we've talked about that. Obviously, they wanted to set him up to be the next big thing, Kang. And then, of course, the arrest. He is going to go to trial over that. He's not been found guilty by any stretch of the imagination, but this is the entertainment industry. He's already lost some jobs for it. And of course, Marvel was thinking, what are we going to do if the worst of the worst happens? Are we going to recast? Are we going to shift the focus to somebody else? And they even revealed in this article that, according to some people, they were considering shifting the focus away from Kang after how poorly Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania performed. That was a flop for them. That was a massive failure, and it made them think maybe we shouldn't be focusing this villain as the center of what we're doing going forward. But let's continue on. The actor insists he's the victim, but the damage to his reputation, the chance he could lose the case, has forced Marvel to reconsider its plans to center the next phase of its interlocking slate of sequels, spin-offs, and series around Majors' villainous character, Kang the Conqueror. And I personally think Jonathan Majors is dog shit as in the role in Loki. He's overacting. It just comes off as cringe. It's not good. I don't like it. Beyond any of the other stuff, the legal situation, whatever, I just don't think he's very good in the role, personally. At the gathering in Palm Springs, executives discussed backup plans, including pivoting to another comic book adversary like Doctor Doom, but making any shift would carry its own headaches. Major's already a big presence, including the scene-stealing antagonist. You're going to call him scene-stealing, but the movie sucked. And he has been positioned as the franchise's next big thing in this season of Loki, which sets up as Kang as the titular star of the fourth Avengers film. God, I love some of this art right here. Is Marvel in trouble? Yes, 100% they are. Marvel is truly fucked with the whole Kang angle, says one top deal maker who's seen the final Loki episode. And they haven't had an opportunity to rewrite until very recently because of the WGA strike. But I don't see a path how they move forward without him. Beyond the bad press for Majors, the Brain Trust is also grappling with the November release of The Marvels, a sequel to Captain Marvel that's been plagued with lengthy reshoots and now appears likely to underwhelm at the box office. And they do get into that a little bit. They talk about how they had to do like 4 weeks worth of reshoots, how Nia DaCosta left the project during post-production to go do another movie, and basically everyone thinks it's going to be a total flop for them. They also bring up what we've been talking about forever. They're putting out way too much content. They're pumping out all this garbage for streaming that nobody cares about. And they've got a quote here. The Marvel machine was pumping out a lot of content. Did it get to the point where it was just too much? Were they burning people out on superheroes? It's possible, says Wall Street analyst Eric Handler. The more you do, the tougher it is to maintain quality. They tried experimenting with breaking in some new characters like Shang-Chi and Eternals with mixed results. With budgets as big as these, you need home runs. And this is where they get into what is likely going to be a failure for the Marvels, like we've talked about multiple times already. So many reshoots, the director leaving in post-production. Listen to this quote. If you're directing a $250 million movie, it's kind of weird for the director to leave with a few months to go, says a source familiar with the production. They get into how bad the visual effects have been, how they ended up fired Victoria Alonso, but really she was just a scapegoat for the way that Marvel has been doing business. Several paragraphs in this article, they get hammered for not only the terrible CGI, but also what led up to the terrible CGI, which is overburdening these VFX studios with last-second requests trying to get things done without any actual time to make it done in a quality way. And that's led the VFX workers to unionize for Marvel, which is going to be another big problem for them going forward. But some internal sources suggest Alonso is a scapegoat and point to She-Hulk VFX issues as a symptom of a deeper rot, namely the lack of oversight in script development. So this is why they're saying one of the reasons VFX is so bad, because they don't have anything planned out, because they're trying to save these things in editing. They make things so much harder on the VFX workers because they don't have things planned out. They get into the fact that an episode of She-Hulk cost $25 million for like a 30-minute episode. That's more expensive than Game of Thrones final season. $25 million an episode for She-Hulk garbage. There are signs that the flood of product is leading to people to tune out. Well, a flood of bad product will certainly do that. No doubt about it. They talk about the Blade debacle, the Blade disaster, and now they get into this huge bringing back these jangling keys, bringing back the original Avengers situation. With Iger publicly acknowledging the downside of a Marvel TV glut that diluted focus and attention, the keepers of the comic book empire are considering some dramatic moves. Sources say there have been talks to bring back the original gang for an Avengers movie. That would include reviving Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man and Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, both of whom were killed off in Endgame. That shouldn't be a stumbling block. In comic books, beloved characters are often killed off, only to be resurrected. Okay, thank you for the explanation. But the studio hasn't yet committed to the idea. If it were able to bring those actors back, it wouldn't come cheap. This is an evisceration of Marvel. Going into so many of these big problems and what they're desperately going to try to do. It's an admission of what we've been saying this entire time. We have been right. The fans have been walking away. These things have been failures. It's been chaotic behind the scenes. Everything is in a downward trend right now for the MCU. The same people, the same outlets that were ferociously defending Marvel and Disney for the past several years are now finally turning on their masters when they realize the jig is up, right? You cannot possibly cover for this anymore. No one with a reasonable mind can look at Marvel and say it's healthy. Same thing we're seeing with Disney right now. A lot more criticism for Disney coming out from a lot of these mainstream outlets. We've been ahead of this. We've been on top of it. We've been telling people, and what happened? We were labeled toxic when we brought up the problems with Marvel and how bad things were getting. But no, now the mainstream is finally caught up. But I guess it doesn't matter how long it takes. It's finally here. The criticism is coming in a big way from the mainstream towards the MCU because even they are being forced to admit this thing is a total disaster. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.